Hello and welcome back to Season 2, Episode 3 of Warrior Sports Talk. I'm Will Bergland.
And I'm Curran Coakley. Today, joining us on set are the captains of Medfield's Big Blue basketball program.
We are so excited to have them on the show today, and all of us here at Warrior Sports Talk are psyched for the winter sports season to be starting up, following a successful fall campaign for Warrior Sports.
Look for more interviews, recaps, and maybe even some other fun episodes in between as we follow all of your Medfield teams right here on Warrior Sports Talk.
Thank you for watching, and
Today with us, we have the captains of the Medfield Big Blue basketball team, Nick Gangemi and Luke Lisciandra. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for having us. All right, guys, so let's get started. As new captains this year, there's definitely a feeling out process involved in learning how to control the team. As the season gets underway, what has the experience been like for both of you in terms of getting your feet underneath your leadership role?
So for me, it's a change of pace from football. You know, football is like a long, tedious sport. A lot of leadership goes into it in terms of maintaining relationships with underclassmen and being on the same page with the coaching staff. There's a lot that goes into a football game. So it's definitely a change. Working with new people, you know, I was lucky enough to work with Matthew Stevens and Will Griffin on the football field. So now I get to work with Luke Lisciandra and Rowan Tracy, who's not here today. But it's definitely great, you know, seeing the guys get to work early on this season and being able to lead them. So.
Yeah, and Luke, what's it been like for you?
So it's been super exciting, honestly. Coming from soccer season, you know, I wasn't a captain there, but it was still a great environment for me and prepared me well for basketball, just to sort of watch the captains in the soccer season and see how they organize the team and control everybody. I learned a lot from that, and I'm taking this to the basketball season now. So.
Great. Well,
That's
kind
awesome.
of a very nice segue from that last question. Both of you, two-sport athletes, Nick with football, Luke with soccer. And there really is a small turnaround time between the fall sports season and the winter season. We don't have a lot of space in between. So what have you done to make that physical transition and prepare your body for basketball season? Soccer and football are obviously vastly different sports than basketball in terms of physicality and the speed and stamina required. So has that change been something that's been difficult for you and something that a lot of people on your team have had to go through?
So for me personally, it was a pretty smooth transition, just because soccer, we had like a week or two in between seasons, so, and I didn't really have any injuries going on during the soccer season, so I was pretty ready for basketball.
So good health kind of carried you over.
Yeah, right. I don't know about Nick.
So this transition has been kind of difficult for me. You know,
Two different sides of the story.
Yeah, the last few years. Last year I was trying to transition to the basketball season, but I had a hip injury, which prevented me from playing basketball. But this year, you know, my hip's been fine, it held up. But I've been dealing with a sprained wrist, so that's been a little difficult. You know, football, it's physical.
It's physical.
You know, it takes a lot.
Do you have any timeline on that wrist? Or?
It's gotten way better. Every day it gets better. So I'm just going to keep icing, keep playing, you know, get better every day. That's my mindset.
Great way to look at it. All right, so interestingly enough, there are some players on this team this year who took some time off from basketball and then returned. What do you think brought them back?
I think it's just like basketball is a sport where when everyone's passing the ball, everyone's cutting, everyone's moving, and things are going right, like there's poetry to it.
It's a fun part. It's a fun thing to be a part of.
It really is.
Right. It is fun.
So, like you mentioned, we have a couple of new guys back. Nick Evans is back, and Jack Iovino's back. I've been playing with those two, and Luke has been too, since like 8th grade, 7th grade, back in middle school days. So it's always great when you play with a familiar face. It's awesome.
There's a lot of, I feel like, history when it comes to like town sports, especially basketball, where you've been playing with these kids for, you know, basically as long as you've known them. So does it feel good to be seniors and kind of see that all come to like a conclusion as captains playing with the kids you grew up with?
Yeah, totally. I mean, the feeling of just watching people grow and develop throughout the season and knowing how they were playing beforehand, and it's a great ending.
It's a special experience.
It's a special
It
experience
really is,
to
yeah.
watch. Yeah.
Yeah. I know you guys have a good bond, and you got a great group of guys on the team this year.
So obviously, last night, difficult loss to a very talented Westwood team to start the season. As the captains and leaders, how do you pull some positives from a tough game like that and make sure that the season doesn't start with a skid?
So one of the things you want to do is you want to get into the film. You want to look for areas of improvement. But like you mentioned, you also want to pull a few positives just to keep guys, you know, motivated and encouraged. And, you know, the best thing about basketball in the season is you got another game this week. So our mindset is now shifted towards Holliston, and we're going to try and have a good 2 practices before. So that's our mindset.
Right. I also think it's a great teaching opportunity, especially for the younger guys, because with these practices that we have now in between our game last night in Holliston on Friday, we really need to change the pace of practice. We need to make sure everyone's locked in, focused, and not just goofing around saying, oh, it's Holliston on Friday. But we need to treat every game like it's a championship game.
Exactly.
And we need to prepare everyone for that.
And I know you guys have dealt with a bunch of injuries with a variety of players to start the season. Do you think that that's affected the mentality or the practice so far, or has that not been an issue?
I think it's impacted practice just a little bit because we've had a couple guys come up from JV to replace those guys that couldn't practice because of an injury. But I think everyone's sort of getting healthy now.
Yeah.
Our last practice, we only had one guy sit down, and it was
Yeah.
just Curran. He was sick. So with practice today and tomorrow, I think everyone should be back, and we should be getting into the groove.
When you got guys doing stuff off to the side, you know, it's great. They're getting their touches in, but nothing beats when you go 5-on-5 and you get chemistry with the guys. So that's what we're working towards, and everyone's starting to get healthy, like Luke mentioned.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
All right, so one last question here. The basketball team is always considered one of the most fun and charismatic teams, and this year is no exception. How do you make sure things stay loose and everyone has a good time, but also retain the focus?
So we like to have fun, you know, with Big Blue. I mean, there's like a culture that we have, you know. We got the music, you know, Coach Grace, his music's awesome.
It's classic.
It's classic. But we also have a goal set. We want to win games this year. It's our last season. And guys have worked really hard. Underclassmen have been working. All right.
We're fine.
We'll cut that, right?
Continue.
You're good, Yemi. We'll cut this.
You're good.
So underclassmen have worked really hard this offseason too. And just from what I saw last year, I was sitting on the bench because I was hurt, and I just saw like continuous growth out of everyone. So that's one of the reasons we're really excited. And how we balance that winning mindset while having fun, that's often up to me, Luke, and Rowan to keep everyone grounded and remind people what our goal is.
Yeah. I also think we have a lot of returning guys that were on the team last year. And as you guys know, last year was rough, right? We came short of playoffs. So I think a lot of those guys understand what goes into winning now. And everyone's sort of taken a group effort in having that as our main goal, just to win. So I think as long as we're headed towards the same goal collectively as a group, I think there's no problem in getting there.
You mentioned Rowan there for a second, so I hope you don't mind if I sneak in one last question. But you two are obviously seniors. Rowan's a junior. Do you feel like there's any discrepancy working with one junior captain, or does Rowan kind of fit that role nicely?
Rowan fits it really nicely. I mean, he started last year. He's a great leader. You know, he always does the little things right. So it's great working with him. I'm super excited. I've seen him grow as a player, so it's awesome.
Always encouraging to see the maturity from especially somebody you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, that's all we have in terms. I'm sorry to cut you off if you wanted to say something.
No, I was just going to say, it sounds like you guys have a great mentality going into this year.
Yeah. Super excited.
Yeah, energy's high. We're all ready to go.
Yeah.
Well, we're all excited for you. That's all we have in terms of questions, so thank you so much. But stick around to watch Luke and Nick play a game of Captain Couples. Welcome to our first edition of Captain Couples on Warrior Sports Talk. The way this will work is Luke and Nick will close their eyes, and Will and I will read a question. The captains will have to point at who they think fits the question the best, and we will see how well they know their captaincy relationship. Let's get started.
All right.
Close your eyes, fellas.
Eyes closed. I'm going to start off with the first question here. Who is the loud captain?
You got a point. You got to make a decision one way or the other.
All right.
Really? I thought it would be unanimous for Nick being the loud captain. Who does all the work? Got some humility.
No, they're supporting each other. I like that.
We have humble leaders on Big Blue.
All right. Who is the quiet leader?
They're going back and forth each time. Who is the team chaperone or team parent?
There we go.
Is that surprising to you?
I don't think so. All right. Who is the most likely to make a freshman run?
Nick maybe
Football,
established as
dude.
the main
Come on.
captain. Do you feel like that's true? Do you feel like you're most likely to make a freshman run?
Yeah.
Who's always on aux at practice when it's not her? Now, Nick, let me ask you, is Luke valid on aux?
Luke is valid on aux. Yeah. I am not. But, yeah.
All right. Who drives everyone?
I mean, like,
Well, in assessing this as return, we're split both ways here.
we both drive.
Sharing
Yeah.
responsibilities. So no team bus necessarily, just both of you going back and forth, carpooling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Respect it. Lastly, this is a big one here. Who is the underclassman's favorite?
That's a good question.
It's a great question.
I don't.
Depends on who you ask, honestly.
What do we think the general consensus is?
I think the consensus is, the guy who's been making plays the last 2 years.
Well, we can have a favorite on the court and favorite off the court.
Yeah.
I mean, oh wait, is this on the court or off the court?
We'll do, how about this? This will be off the court, first round. Who is the underclassman's favorite off the court?
They're supporting each other.
They're supporting each other. And
I
now,
like it.
who is the underclassman's favorite on the court?
Come on.
He won't point to himself, but I think we know what he wants to do.
Luke,
Yep,
come on,
yep.
man.
All right.
All right. So that'll do it for our game today. So thank you guys. Luke and Nick, thank you for joining us, and good luck with the rest of your season.
Thank you guys for having us.
It was a pleasure.
Super
Glad to have
excited.
you.
Let's go.
That's all our time for today. Thank you so much to Luke and Nick for chatting with us, and good luck to all of Medfield basketball as you kick off your season.
Be on the lookout for more episodes coming soon, and best of luck to all winter sports teams, and as always, thank you for watching.